Hello and welcome to Radio Free Nintendo. It is July 31st, 2025, the last day of July, and this is episode 936. I'm joined today by Mr. John Lindemann.
It's great to be here, James.
Mr. Regley.
Ahoy, hoy, everyone.
And I believe the departing for a while, Mr. Guillaume Veillette.
Hello, and goodbye.
Yep. All right. That's the last you're going to hear Guillaume for the next month. I didn't say I'm just going to edit the rest of the segment, so you're just going to be missing. I'm
still editing this episode, but not the next one.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're in next week?
Actually, yes. You're going to hear me next week.
Okay, I thought this was the last week. Okay.
No.
My mistake. The not departing Mr. Guillaume Veillette. He's here. He's sticking around.
Spoiler alert, I might be gone 2 weeks from now.
Yes. Well, I might. All right, we'll figure this out as we go.
Mm-hmm.
And I am your incredibly prepared host, James Jones. There was a direct today. There was a partner direct. It wasn't a mini direct. It wasn't any other kind of adjective that they use sometimes to delineate the type and nature of a direct. It was just a straight up partner direct. 27-ish minutes, I think is what it ended up being. And I have the press release in front of me right now. But I'm not going to follow the press release because I was in the Discord, the NWR Discord. You should go to the NW Discord. If you go to NintendoWorldReport.com, there's a link that says chat at the top right of the page. That will take you to the NWR Discord. In that debauched things happen. As an example, at this moment, Seren is talking a lot. What is she talking about? She's talking a lot. She's saying a lot of things. Are they interesting? I think they're about the availability of games vis-a-vis game cards and long-term preservation. Okay, cool. Is anything happening in the second general channel? Because we have two, because things are too hot. Oh, yes. Chaos RSS messaged me to tell me that, Choaniki add-on and Samson figurines are coming out, not realizing that John Lindemann had told me about this literally a day previously.
Yep, sorry, already saw it.
In text message form.
Come on, what do you think? We're amateurs here? Come on.
Oh, get ready for it. Frequent listener GX is posting about his attempt to clear DuckTales with zero money collected. For retro achievements. There you go. Okay. That's the kind of stuff we're dealing with in this Discord. So, but during directs, things get a little bit more spicy. And, I'm just going to lead with a game that, let's say got a lot of attention, befuddlement, confusion, Chillin by the fire. I
didn't think this was real. I thought this was a joke. Legitimately, I thought it was a joke, that it was a joke of a game inside a game.
So it can be real and still be a joke.
I absolutely agree. But it's just, I sat there, I started laughing because I'm like, surely this is some sort of satire of a cozy game. Because they're like, oh yeah.
It did feel that way. Look how cozy this is.
Yeah, like, look as you sit by the fire, determine what kind of log you want to put on the fire and learn how to stoke the fire. And I'm like, this can't be real. It's like
it has one of the longest entries on the press release for the Direct. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
Players can now join into humanity's oldest social network. In this campfire simulation game, players can build and maintain campfires in a variety of different relaxing locales, including the beach, forest, and snowy mountaintops. Combat differing weather and climate to grow your campfire to level 10 to advance. Gather up to 4 friends and family members together around the fire online or via GameShare. And if a compatible USB-C camera, sold separately, is connected, you can even appear in the game with camera play. One word. In a world that's always rushing, slow down and reclaim the simple joy of just sitting around and watching the campfire grow, as Chillin by the Fire is available for Nintendo Switch 2 later today. What the fuck?
This gives me Ping Pals vibes.
So the thing that people were comparing it to in the chat, but when the game was just them like showing how you use the Joy-Con to position the wood exactly the way you want it, so that it like lays out so you can build the best possible fire so you don't suffocate it and that air can get through it. People were kind of like, this is weird. This is fucking weird. It's an Oink Games joint, so whatever, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then they showed the camera stuff, and it's just like
It's
floating heads in a fire.
the stuff of
And
nightmares.
Somebody immediately said, "Oh, this is the We Speak heads," and
Yes.
I'm like, "Yeah, you're
Yes,
right. It is."
That's exactly what I texted James immediately and said, James, we have to have an RFN chillin' by the fire. And I said, so I can say these words to you. James, grab the wet log.
So in the Discord, what I said as this was happening before John messaged me was something along the lines of, the only thing that appeals to me about this product is that I can put John Lindemann's face in a fire.
This is it. This is it.
But if you want to do it, I'm game. Like, if you all want to buy a copy, I'll hop online and chill by the fire.
Yeah, how much is it?
It's $15.
It's $15, man. That's overpriced, but it's so stupid. It's like, okay, you got me. You got me. All right. You've made something stupid enough that I want to buy it. Like,
it's like using the power of the Switch 2 to put faces in front of a fire. I'm going to put an image in this is an official image from the game's publisher on the Nintendo.com listing for it. I'm going to make John describe this image. There it is. Because this is a visual medium.
yeah, this
What
is...
the fuck?
It is late at night. The stars are twinkling in the sky. A fire burns in the
Sure.
in the
As
middle.
they do.
Yes, they do. As they do. I mean, a fire is firing. In the middle of, I guess, what would you call that? A fire.
A burn pit. A fire pit, yeah.
A burn pit. Okay. As three Japanese guys creepily stare down as they don't. They're
Just
actually
their heads.
Yeah, it's just their heads sitting in chairs, staring
Leaning
at the fire.
way forward into the fire.
Leading forward into the fire.
One person's got like a stick coming out of their mouth. I think maybe that's just coming off the fire.
Maybe, yeah. Well,
Oh no, that's you could say you could roast mushrooms. That's
Yeah,
them roasting a mushroom.
Marshmallows, yeah, roasting marshmallows. Yeah,
Because you can see that Hiroshi on the
Mushrooms,
left
yeah.
has the fire tongues as well
Yeah.
as you do.
It's 145 degrees Fahrenheit to go until it's lit. So
And it's a level 5 fire.
It's a level 5 fire, close to level 6, I believe.
Yeah, it's
Unless
about to
that's
level
how
up.
that works, I don't know.
Yeah,
There's a gauge.
Maybe good.
Yeah, and I guess the picture in the bottom right corner is the woman who is that's
The
her
player.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
her.
that's
That's
the
her
player.
floating face that the other people see.
Yeah, it's the fact the faces are huge and just floating really adds to the disturbingness of it all.
Yeah.
But there is a shot in the trailer where there's like a head that's basically in the fire, and I'm like,
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
This looks like three people have carved a hole in reality from another dimension and are sticking their heads into this reality.
as you do.
As one
And
does.
they all get to enjoy a fire together. I think that's the promise of Game Chat and Nintendo Online.
It's
Yeah.
the world's oldest social network. What the fuck? Like this is by far the strangest thing in this direct, and that this is a direct that had NBA Bounce, which is a mascot 3-on-3 basketball game, which looks like dog shit. This is confusing. This is the thing that I walked away actually perplexed.
Yeah.
Like, sitting there going like, what? I mean, and this is a direct that ended with two distinct Square Enix HD 2D games. And this is what made me walk away going, what the fuck did I just see?
Mhm.
Well, good job, Oink. You did it. You made a new kind of gaming experience, their words. The star of the game is the tiny flame born from your fingertips. The flow of the air, the thickness of the wood, the angle at which it's placed all intertwine as the flame steadily grows.
Yeah, so you just basically you log on to this and just
make fire,
and that's it.
So this has game share, so I could just So when I go camping in 2 weeks, I can just bring the Switch and the Switch 2, and Karen and I can enjoy a nice, fire.
Game share it in front of the fire.
Yeah, well, like actual fires just create all these particles that just end up like directly in your bloodstream. Like the forests are burning in Canada. I don't think that we need to actually go and build us a little fire and go like breathe in the fumes. So this might just be what we need.
But what if you're
virtual fire?
What if you just teach the fire a lesson? Like teach the wildfires a lesson. Let them know who's boss by showing them like, look at this fake fire I made. I don't need you. You can't leap forth from this screen and set my world ablaze. Or conversely, I mean, what's one more fire at this point? It's just all on fire anyway, It's fine. I mean, you're going to end up inhaling all those fumes anyway.
Yeah, I've been keeping my windows closed for the past couple weeks. It sucks.
Anyway. I would say I've been lucky the air's been blowing the other direction, but that just means we've been getting the hot air from the south. Fuck. It's screwed either way. Yeah, so that's the direct. That was all we wanted to talk about. That's the whole direct. No, we do have some other things to talk about. So I've got the list in front of me. We had
started with Monster Hunter Stories.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Stories 3. Twisted Reflection, I believe, is the subtitle. It looks really nice. It's a Switch 2 game. It is also a Switch game, I think. No, it's just Switch 2. 2026. But again, it also was instantly obvious this is a Monster Hunter Stories game. John, you played one of these, right?
I think I may have played both of them just for a little tiny bit, but yeah. They're very much. They're. I don't know. It would have to be markedly different from the other two. I mean, it's effectively just kind of a lighthearted, RPG with a little bit of Pokemon in there, where you get your Monstie, because they call them Monsties, not monsters.
My brain translated what you just said into Steve. And I'm like, yeah, no.
That would actually be a great name for your Monstie in the game.
There you go. See, we're just dropping ideas.
I like where you're going with it.
Head gold.
So, yeah, and you kind of you level up your character and level up your monster as well. So, and you save your village, and it's that kind of stuff. So, yeah. I mean, I'm sure this will be good. I mean, they're all good games. Like they're all really good kind kind of lighter RPGs sort of thing, like our RPG fare, kind of geared towards kids. But, yeah, I may get it at some point.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We had our EA run, so we got to see Madden on Switch 2. Looks good. We got to see EA Sport FC 26, because we're not paying FIFA a goddamn cent. Which looks like EA Sport FC. I mean, I can say the same thing about Madden.
Yeah.
Which is called EA Sports Madden NFL 26. I mean, but John, I'm told this is the most real Madden's ever been. Which I don't know what that means.
The thing is, it's always funny watching the community react to like all the first trailers, because they're like so cynical, right? They're like, oh yeah, yep. They're just like, yep. EA says this about these games every single year. They always say everything's new and improved, everything is amazing, and everything's great, and every year we pick it up anyways. So let's just get it over with. Let's just move this whole farce along.
I
this
like
whole
the idea
shambolic ritual that we do. Let's just get it out of the way.
I like the idea that there could be a year that's less real than the previous ones. The most real ever. It's like, what did they come back? It's less real than last year.
But it's like they say that with Madden, and they're like, oh yeah, it's realer than ever. We're adding mascots to the game. It's okay.
You can play as your favorite coaches. No one has a favorite coach.
Exactly. You know, it's
Coach,
like, man,
the average coaching career for a team is like 3 years.
It's like they don't have Dick Vermeil, no sale. Like, it's like, who's gonna say that? Oh man.
I'm trying to remember what coach it was. I think it was the Chargers coach they threw up when they're like, you can play as your favorite coach. I'm like, I don't even know who the Chargers coach is.
Yeah.
It's Jim Harbaugh. I don't think they
you're
showed
right. It's
him.
Harbaugh.
Yeah.
It wasn't Harbaugh. No, it was
that you know, sort of someone who's
that actually would be fun.
It's
So
like,
if somebody recently left college embroiled in a cheating scandal's probably not the best.
He bought a hamburger. It's fun. He ate both those hamburgers himself, which I actually believe. That's the one, like, no, I didn't cheat. I actually believe. Now, if you're talking about the whole Connor Stallions thing, that's too funny. That's too funny to be mad about. I like that one of the schools that Connor Stallions was spying at is now under investigation for it more than Michigan ever was. It pays to be a power.
but it's like, man, wow, you can play as Mike McDonald? Great. Okay.
Great. I'm excited about that. I actually would like to play as Harbaugh if I have to drink 3 pitchers of milk every
exactly
game.
It. You want to play as Harbaugh, but really not doing football stuff. You want to just do Harbaugh stuff.
I want a Harbaugh game, yes, where I have to iron. Somebody has brought me khakis, but they got them with pleats, like I'm some kind of godless heathen.
Yeah.
And I have to iron the pleats out of these khakis using the Joy-Con to map my hand to the ironing board. Yes, that's what I want. I want to have to drink a pitcher of milk at halftime.
Text John Harbaugh again. John Harbaugh has blocked you for the 3rd time this week.
Text Dad. John blocked me again.
Yeah, but hey, Madden realer than ever. You know, FC26, they listen to everybody's feedback, and it's like, yeah, okay, well, you still are the only game in town, so therefore I will buy you, and let's just end this.
Is Greg, this is probably most directed to you. Is John normal, or is he just better at hiding it than every other person with that last name?
It comparatively certainly seems it, doesn't he? You know, and he's been in that job at the Ravens for a very long time, and obviously that has a lot to do with what a stable, well-run kind of model organisation that was. You know, before he was hired with Ozzie Newsome, the general manager, was considered one of the very best. And he retired and kind of passed it on now to the current GM, but still, they've just a total model of stability. But I can't imagine John would have lasted as long in the job if he himself wasn't a bit less, shall we say, combustible than his brother. So yeah, I think we've got to give him some credit there.
There is a very good series of videos of Jim's daughter. As his college-age daughter, he took on a trip to Paris, took the whole family, while he was still at Michigan. And it's just her streaming video of him doing things that a dad does on vacation. And it's just like, oh, he's exactly the person we make jokes that he is. Him basically doing like jogging sprints in the airport in khakis and a Michigan sweater. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? That's what I want. Make that realer than ever. I want to have my coach doing wind sprints up and down the aisle of the charter plane as we're flying to go play the fucking Vegas team in the middle of the goddamn season. For no good reason. How this current NFL schedule is, make me the head coach of the Giants where I get to play all of my division rivals in the first 5 weeks. Because fuck it, who cares? Who cares? I think Miami has the same problem. I think they play their whole division like in the first month and a half. It's just evil. I want, if it's going to be the most real ever, let me fight someone. Let me be the coach and fight, not Andy Reid. Andy Reid's not going to fight anybody. But like, if I'm playing as one of the hothead coaches, let me just like throw a right hook. I just want to see it. It's been a long time since a coach threw a punch. I think we're overdue. Also, the modern NFL would implode. It'd be great. It'd be so good. It'd be so good. But John, are you feel also from the EA? We got Apex. Apex is here. Are you ready for Apex, John? It's like 6 years old at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Apex, I don't have anything against it. It's like I'm very neutral towards it, so, you know.
Yeah. It's just weird that they're like, Apex is here, and I'm like,
it's like it's always been around. I mean, was it on Switch
2019? No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I guess
No,
that's the novelty then?
I think it was.
Was
I
it?
assume.
Oh,
I assume
you're right,
it's
you're
just.
right, it was.
I
Yeah.
assume it's just analogous to when like Fortnite wasn't Fortnite in a previous director. It's like obviously Fortnite was already on Switch, but it's like, hey, this is actual Switch 2 version, rather than just the back compat is probably going to boost it a bit, but. So yeah, it's just one of those, hardly revelatory stuff.
And Plants vs. Zombie HD, which they're calling Replanted, because this game is old enough. Plants vs. Zombie is old enough that they can make an HD version, and that's news.
I mean, this just feels like something, from 20 years ago. It's a PopCap game. Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah. EA is here. EA is here in your system, doing things, the most basic possible things, but that's kind of what they do.
That's so weird.
It is very weird. But hey, there you go. That's EA's representation in this direct. Speaking of games that have been around forever, but here they are now. Dragon Ball Sparking ! Gotta mention, it's also been around forever. It is now on Switch too. It's an arena fighter, so it's one of those. But the
it's
only
been
thing
around forever, but not in the same way that Plants vs. Zombies has been.
No,
around forever.
not that.
It's like,
I was
more
thinking
like
more
2-3 years. Maybe?
Yeah, I was thinking more of the Apex around forever, not the Plants vs. Zombies around forever.
Oh, okay.
But it does have 180 playable characters. How many of them are Goku? Stop fucking asking questions.
Sparking Zero is less than a year old.
Yeah, it came out in 2024. I think it comes out November. So it will be over a year old when it comes out on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of games that got announced that are like November, but you can pre-order now.
Sure.
This
Including
is one
another
of them.
old-ass game, Yakuza Kiwami 2
Yeah!
and Yakuza Kiwami 1. So now if you want your port of an 8-year-old remake of a 19-year-old game, have I got the game for you?
I do want this, actually. No, I've already played this game like 3 times.
Plants vs. Zombies is 16 years old.
Yeah,
So.
it's old. Like I said, it's old. Seren's the one who made the connection for me. It's old enough that just being HD is actually news.
It's just,
I was reminded, though, how much I hate the art for the people in Plants vs. Zombies. Like, how they look. They're just very visually unpleasant. As Guillaume just mentioned, we have our Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2.
Yeah, I wish, I'm waiting because I don't really want to put more money in the Xbox ecosystem at this point. But I do want to play Infinite Wealth. I really do.
Yeah. So 1 is in the old Yakuza 3 and 4, 5, 0 engine, Kiwami 1.
Okay.
And so that engine could play on PS3. And that is why Kiwami 1 was already on Switch. Kiwami 1 on Switch 2 will look better, but just like Kiwami 1 on PS4 looked better than on PS. Actually, I don't think it came out on PS3.
I think you're thinking PlayStation 4 and 5.
No. Because Kiwami 1 came out well before the PS5 did. But it looked better than games in the same engine looked on PS3. Let's put it that way. The Dragon engine, which is the current engine, is the one that Kiwami 2 was in, which is why Switch never got it. Switch 2 can handle the Kiwami engine. So now we have that, which means we can probably get, I think 3 was remade in the Kiwami engine. I'm not sure. And then 4, 5, 6. I mean, they could dump the whole series up to 6. What I don't know is, do the 2 games that have come out since then, what are effectively 7 and 8, how do they perform? How would they perform on Switch? Because they do a little bit more. And they were built ground up PS4, so there could be a little bit more demand there. But I think that's possible. And then, but they're definitely pushing it with Infinite Wealth, so that might be a concern. This also opens up the 2 Judgment games for availability because they're also Dragon Engine. And I actually think those games are neat. Are they good? I mean, they're Yakuza Engine games, so they're decent. But like as a baseline, they're a lot smaller. Because if you know where Yakuza 6 ends up, it's fucking insane. It is Layton-esque. Most of Judgment 2 takes place in a high school. You're running around a high school. It's a slightly different scale of product. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. I think they might struggle a little bit with some of the settings they've created in Infinite Wealth. So, TBD. TBD. Let's see what else is on here. Yes. Well, we'll get to the Square Enix stuff in a minute. Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac. John, did you want Pac-Man World 2?
I always forget that these games exist. These Pac-Man platformers. I'm always like, oh yeah, these things are still around, and they still make them for some reason.
Well, they don't still make them. They haven't made them in 20 years, but they made a bunch of them.
No,
and then they now they're remaking them.
That shows how engaged I am with the franchise.
Yes.
I just feel like they've. I don't know. I guess these things. Ironically, these things stick out in my mind because I find them so strange. So I'm like, Pac-Man World. Yeah, I mean, wow, it's like every decade or so, I see one of these things and I think, wow, that's a remarkably bad idea. And then a decade goes by and I'm like, that's still a bad idea.
So, GX noted that the DLC for this game includes a Pac-Land, his iconic Pac-Land outfit, which is like a trilby and some shoes with wings on them. It's fucking fantastic. Pac-Man, you fucking... Congratulations, Namco Bandai, you did it. Once Upon a Katamari, a new Katamari Damacy game, like a all-new Katamari Damacy game. Brand new, completely new. Unless you pay $20 and then you get the music from the previous Katamari Damacy games.
Right.
But otherwise, this is new game.
Yeah, and it's of course compatible with the Switch One. There's not much to say because you say it's brand new, but everyone looked at it like the first thought you have is like, is this a new one or a remake? Because they kind of all look the same. Yeah.
And the first thing Nintendo says is it's brand new. Because they also had that thought.
Yeah, so it's got this time travel theme, I guess. You roll up dinosaurs. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
If you pre-order, you can get 3 different faces for your character. So
3 for the King of all Cosmos?
No.
No, for your little prince.
Yeah.
Prince, yeah. Or the cousins, I guess.
This one does have online multiplayer, but I don't know if I'm going to get into a lot of death matches online in Katamari Damacy. I don't know.
Battle Royale, who can roll up the biggest ball?
Yeah, actually, it looked like a 4-player thing.
Who has the biggest balls, if you will?
It's me. If
wow,
no
easy.
hesitation whatsoever.
None.
I mean, look, facts is facts.
Yep.
So that's definitely a thing that exists, and you can go buy it with your monies. It comes out. I just had it up too. I think it was definitely on that, and you can pre-order now list.
What was it, $30 or something?
Yeah, I thought it was 50. October 24th.
Okay.
It was another one of those like pre-order now. It'll be out in 2 months. Let's see. It is since you asked, I'll look it up. It is slow to load. 40.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was a little bit cheaper.
40, and I think there's a $20 DLC pack or something. That's like, here's the music. Let's see, what else do we have? Is there anything besides all the Square Enix shit? Persona 3 Reload got announced, which like talking about remakes of old ass games now being ported a couple years later. There you go. We got to see Borderlands 4 for 25 seconds. Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven. I know you had expressed a little interest in this.
I actually have the Switch 1 version. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, and there is an upgrade patch, but so I did, look up quickly rpgsite.com or is it .net? They had for some reason, they had an article like, shit, I need to look this up because basically what Saga games play better on Switch 2. They had a whole feature for all the Saga people, which ones actually run better on Switch 2. And so, yeah, so this one, basically, the Switch 1 version was capped at 30 frame rates, frame per second. It would dip. So if you're playing on the Switch 2, it stops dipping under 30. It's a stable 30. But they did say that the textures or the resolution was, softer than on PC or the other consoles. So if you get this patch, basically, and also just being on the Switch 2, the load times are shorter. So if you paid $15 Canadian, I think, for this patch, probably $10 US, what you get is perhaps even faster loading times. But mostly just was it 1080p
FPS.
resolution or
1080p, 60 FPS. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I'll have to look. At first, I need to actually start playing this game, and maybe I'll start in Switch 1 mode, and I'll see if I actually need 60 frames per second for a remake of the Saga game.
NBA Bounce, which I mentioned earlier, looks very bad. Shinobi Art of Vengeance got a quick show. That's in August. There was a demo released today. I have not had a chance to play the demo, although I have it downloaded.
I've read good things about it. It seems...
Yeah.
Well, it's a curious time, isn't it? Because the Ninja Gaiden revival is out, Rage Bound, and that's already reviewed. Seems to be reviewed quite well.
Yep.
But Shinobi's coming at the end of August, which has got that kind of the Streets of Rage 4 kind of pedigree behind it and all that. So yeah, I would say it was probably slightly more enthusiastic in prospect about Shinobi, but it seems like Ninja Gaiden's put down a pretty good marker so far. So yeah, hopefully we'll have two cool old school ninja games to play. But like I said, I might wait before deciding which one to go for.
Ninjas, they're back.
Yes, it's the 80s all over again in so many ways.
It really is.
Well, did you see that in Japan? I think that they're outlawing katanas again or something. You need to hand your katana to the cops.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad we're back to the era that we have to outlaw sidearms.
Yeah.
Specifically swords.
I will only say the word hero from now on. No more of this ninja stuff.
They were strangely not that bothered about the swords and stuff. It's only the nunchucks.
There's only the nunchucks. But this is what happens when you vest so much power in one guy, and weird things become their obsession. So you can't do we've talked about this, but there is an entire scene in one of the Turtle movies where they use linked sausages instead of nunchucks, just as a middle finger to this one dude. It's just so stupid. What a dumb franchise. John, I got a game that I think you're going to be excited for. You like party games, right? You like exploring islands?
Always.
You have you ever wanted to transform into your most magical self?
So many times I've lost count.
Congratulations. There's new DLC for Hello Kitty Island Adventure called Wheat Flower Wonderland. And John, this promises in this fall you will be able to transform into your most magical self.
All right. Hey.
You can go to Wheat Flower Wonderland and craft powerful lawns. Unlock the Hold on.
Is it wheat or weed?
Wheat. As in
okay.
I make grain.
A little bit disappointed, but
Well, that would be a different kind of magical self, and it would probably affect the ESRB rating a little bit.
Absolutely would be. Yep.
All right, these are the things you can do in the wheat flower wonderland. You can, quote, craft powerful wands, comma, unlock the story, comma, transform into your most magical self. I've never seen a feature list be, the story of the game is here.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
You can use your controller.
Game is playable. Has content. Graphics. Speaking of is playable, that is apparently not the case for Tales from the Shire based on the NWR review, in which apparently it crashes almost every 20 minutes. Don't play that game! Don't buy it! It's bad! You can go read more at NintendoWorldReport.com, or you can watch the video over the Nintendo World Report YouTube page. It's bad. John Raridan had a bad time. He still gave it a 5.5 because he's a nice guy. I was like, brother, it crashed every 20 minutes.
The sky turns red. Blood red.
Yeah, oh yeah, the sky turns red like it's the fucking blood moon in Zelda.
Yep.
Here's a hint that might be what the problem is. The game requires 16 gigabytes of RAM on PC. Switch does not have 60 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
In fact, most games don't require anything close to that. I'm going to say this game might have a memory use problem.
Switch 2 doesn't either, right? Isn't it?
No! 60 gigabytes of RAM is excessive! It crashing at every 20 minutes would also suggest there's probably a memory management issue. And the bright red sky looks like corruption, so, not Metroid Prime corruption, just corruption. So don't play that. Don't play that game. That place you could probably also find the story if the game's not crashing. Hella is like a puzzle game where you're a mouse, based on Scandinavian folklore. It looked fine. I don't know. We didn't get a lot out of it.
Shit. I fucked up. I said something wrong on the podcast. I said that Japan banned katanas. I think that's been true since like 1958. No, the truth is funnier. The UK is banning katanas.
That is funnier. You're right.
Well, maybe they're going to work through the 4 different ones, from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
it's gonna be it's gonna be a real bitch when they just ban sticks.
Yeah, when they ban a staff, that's you'll know that our parliamentary democracy has fallen, presumably.
Hey, that wood looks awfully like straight and polished. No, it's natural. I came off the tree this way. It's not a staff. It's just a branch. It's just a branch. Everything's fine. Imagine having to go to court to prove it's just a branch. I think that would be very funny. Katanas are not outright banned in Japan, but their possession and sale is heavily regulated. The sword and firearms control law, fuck yes, governs ownership of the use of swords, ensuring public safety and preserving cultural heritage. Traditional katanas can be owned if registered and considered works of art, but they cannot be carried as weapons. Mass-produced swords are generally prohibited. What if I'm carrying it as art?
I'm not sure it's entirely wise for you to make fun of other countries' weapons laws.
No! I'm not making fun. I just love the name. It's crazy name.
If ours were only so quaint.
It's true. I enjoy the peculiarities they weave into that. Well, if it's art, you can have the sword. What if the art is hanging from my hip? Is it still art? Is art no matter where it is? Oh, who can say? But yeah, I'm glad.
Take this katana to the wall. Is it art? You can eat it. Oh.
I mean, you can try to eat it. That's true. There's actually a reference to the banana art in an RFN article a couple weeks ago.
Oh, good.
As a long con to set up a transition to Bonanza. Because I put more effort into that article than I really should. You should read it. It's insane every week. And then at this point, we got a Just Dance, which at this point, every time I see a Just Dance trailer, my body wants to consume itself. And We got the blooper team that's long been talked about for Switch 2 called Chronos: The New Dawn. From the studio behind Silent Hill 2 remake comes a third-person survival horror game where your deadliest weapon where time is your deadliest weapon and maybe your worst enemy too. Survive in two distinct eras.
You still seem to have a gun for good measure.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't shoot you with time. I don't think. John, can I shoot somebody with time?
I don't think so.
Damn it.
3 o'clock. 3 o'clock.
All right. No, wait. No, you're onto something. You're cooking here. You're cooking.
Because, I don't know, like, do people
Time
remember
gun!
the video of the dude just shouting fireball, throwing little rocks or something, dressed as a mage?
I like the idea that you're like adjusting a watch to be the time you want and then pressing a button on it. It's like, this calls for a 4:45. There we go. Got him. Oh, fuck. All right, honestly, is this any less weird than fucking hanging out by the fire or whatever that game is called? I mean, we're the options are Oink Games. Make time gun. Make time gun. Anyway, we were talking about Chronos: The New Dawn. The game actually looks kind of interesting. It looks, it looked really nice visually. It's set in the far future and in the 1980s Poland, where there are, quote, nightmarish creatures who. The thing that was interesting is as creatures merge, they become more powerful. And then it says you survive by bending time itself. This comes out very soon. It's beginning of September, so like 1 month from now. Probably one of the more interesting looking games that was like, oh, this is new. Star Wars Outlaws is coming to Switch 2. That comes out the day before Chronos: The New Dawn. Neat. And then I think we're pretty much in what's left is the Square Enix stuff. So going through, I'm not going in order because Square Enix got a lot of time. Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles was this is the original Final Fantasy Tactics with new voice acting. This is based on the PSP version, I think. I can't remember.
I think it's specifically not.
Oh.
No? Yeah. Some of the extra stuff that was in the War of the Lions version will not be making it into this, I believe.
Great.
Yeah.
Square, can you please remake some of the other games you own? I'm begging you. There's a whole series that just last year a game was made that cribbed heavily and did quite well. Maybe you should consider it.
I don't know. Maybe. I think that this was overdue. Like, you could play Tactics on the phone and the PSP, but those were the last versions, right? Like, we didn't really get we didn't get it as a PS1. No, wait, we did get it as a PS1 classic on PlayStation 3, but
we did.
Still.
But I mean, you could play it on your Vita. Vita means life, Guillaume.
Right. I did not own a Vita. But I don't know. Like, it's not. I don't think that this is one of the ones that they've been releasing too many times.
I mean, they did do the Tactics Ogre one recently-ish, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, which
That's
is the
different game.
I'm aware. This game is based on that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, just do the other franchise. Just do the other franchise. Come on, you can do it. You can do it.
What other franchise?
The Ogre Battles of the House, which they also own.
Right.
Which they also own. Considering
who I was talking to. Yeah.
Considering somebody stole their lunch money last year and did really well, maybe you should consider it. The game that inspired the game you probably just played. Besides that, they then showed. They got a break. So Square Enix took a breather, because we ended the show with a double dose of Square Enix. Actually, no, I forgot to mention, we got a trailer for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. But that's basically it. It was a trailer. Like, I don't think we got any real new info, did we? Except that it's canon. Actually, no.
I feel like they did mention that before, but I guess it did reinforce. It was very explicit, wasn't it? It was just like the canonical events that lead up to Tears of the Kingdom or whatever.
That
so
cracked me the fuck up. So
it is pretty. It's just like, you know, look, all of you out there, stop snickering at this Muso game story. How dare you?
I know. This is canon. I laughed at that too.
Canonicity.
You have to specifically throw that word out there.
It was three things. So I had just gotten home from a pre-work bike ride, and it's miserable out there. So I had to clean myself up. And I was just stepping out of the shower when they got to that line of, it's canon to the events of Tears of the Kingdom. And I started cackling to the point where I almost fell down because the floor is tile, which is a really dumb decision around that much water, but whatever. Because it's not, however, the events that lead to Tears of the Kingdom. If only there was another game that allegedly is the events that lead to Tears of the Kingdom.
No.
They are bravely seconding in reverse. It's amazing. Oh, you fucks. This would be like if they
it's canon that Zelda just kills like thousands of enemies in the past.
Cool. But then fucks around a lot, I guess. Because in the actual game itself, in Tears of the Kingdom, we don't actually see her do that much. She does a couple little things, but most of it is her ancestor, who, I repeat, is an animal. Just absolutely blasting the shit out of everything with almost no effort. But hey, it's not apparently canon to Breath of the Wild. The events are not canon to the events of Breath of the Wild. So I like the idea that this game is only canon to half of the games that are allegedly sequels to one another. I like, actually, what I really like is if they had made Bravely Second is the one that continues the story of Bravely Default. I would have loved if they made a prequel to Bravely Second called Bravely First that has completely different events than Bravely Default. Completely separate story. But is still a sequel. It's perfect. That's what they should have done. Fuck it. Square Enix, you got outdone by Nintendo and Koei Tecmo. What are you doing? What are you doing? So back to the Square Enix mess. They ended the show with two distinct HD 2D games. One of them we had never seen before, and so we weren't clear what it was when it first started. This was, let me get the exact name of this one, because I remember the name is really ridiculous. The Adventures of Elliot: The Millennium Tales. The first ever HD 2D action-adventure RPG from Square Enix later this year. A demo for this dropped. I did not get a chance, but did anybody get a chance to play the Adventures of Elliot demo?
No.
You're all so excited for the Adventures of... This is a fucking terrible name, right?
Yeah. I do want to check it out because it does seem like East-ish, except that I just read on the Discord that it's not so East-ish at all. There's no you don't have like skills that you set up on with, what do you call those? Whatever. Anyway, like you're not spamming skills left and right to fill up gauges and stuff. Like it's more basic than that, apparently.
Yep. There's a bunch of different weapon types. Navigate battles with strategic support abilities provided by a helpful fairy. Oh yeah, it's another Team Asano game that involves a fairy that's definitely your friend.
Was this one with the fairy named Faye?
Yes.
Oh god. I heard that and I was like, wow.
It's a fairy named Fairy, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Last time it was Airy, right?
Yes. All right, look. They're not doing a good job here. I'm just going to be honest. I do like that Square Enix continues the lie that Team Asano isn't just like two people with the ability to write contracts to developers. It's like Team Asano is not a team. It's like a dude. And he partners with 800 other development studios to make games. It looked interesting, but yeah, I haven't played it. it also confirmed that we are not going to be able to escape the phrase HD 2D for another 5 years at least. And then we saw the not very well protected rumor of Octopath Traveler 0, which is described as start from zero, which, yeah, no, you're right. You did it, Square Enix. You did it. This prequel to the first Octopath Traveler. See, this part of Square Enix gets it. You make canonical prequels. Journey to stop powerful village using a fast-paced, turn-based combat. For the first time in the series, play through the eyes of your own custom protagonist and rebuild your hometown. Again, these people love, rebuild the hometown as a game mechanic. With over 30 recruitable party members, an engaging story, and all new features, returning core elements like the iconic HD 2D graphics and the break and boost battle system, players embark on a journey of your own creation. Octopath Traveler 0 arrives for Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch on December 4th. We're never going to escape this fucking series. I mean, my understanding is Octopath Traveler 2 is better. So maybe I should have played that. But we are never escaping HD 2D. It's never happening. All right. Anybody have anything they wanted to call out? We went through everything except Goodnight Universe, an emotional adventure that puts you in the role of a 6-month-old baby developing psychic powers. Comes out in November.
It looked very much like that Twilight Zone thing, right? Except you're the kid who can whisk people to the cornfield. Or it's been a while since I watched it.
Yep. I'm gonna send John Lindemann to the cornfield.
Nice.
and or the fire pit.
It's coming. I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, in general.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, in general, like, I do see a few things that I want, but I went and just, like, binged on old Switch 1 games that kind of have a direct impact on whether I want to buy these games or not. You know, I did buy the Tactics Ogre game. I should start it at some point. I do have Revenge of the Seven already. I'm not going to buy the Switch 2 version. You know, that kind of stuff. But, you know, I can always, yeah, sure, a new Katamari Damacy, I'll play it. It's probably going to have, like, you know, killer music, so why not? I feel like a lot of people were like, oh, about the whole thing. But the thing that seems to dominate online, but that no one in the real world is probably talking about, is the game keycard things. The fact that like none of these games basically are actually on the cart. They're the key cards where the cartridge allows you to download the game.
Yeah, this is one of the things that you're right. It is dominating online conversation, but I honestly doubt 90% of the people care, because fundamentally even when Switch had the game on the card, they're so used to putting it in the Switch and it going like, "Hey, you need to download shit."
Right.
And it would download a big patch and then it would come through. In this case, it just downloads the game, and then it comes through. People probably just go like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, you mentioned at the beginning of the episode that you were looking at, Soren was talking a lot on the Discord. She's been explaining that the game key cards... am I saying that right? Game key cards.
Key card. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, it's key card.
So, like, the it doesn't sound right. But anyway, the sales of the game key cards and the full games on a cartridge mirror their sales online, you know, as downloads. And so that kind of shows that basically, like, if a third party game keycard game is not selling physically, it's also not selling digitally. And so it's not because of the game keycard thing, it's just because people are not buying it. It's not popular enough. It's not the game that people want. So, I don't know. Like, I found that interesting. Like, most people don't seem to care. They just look at the shelves. They pick up what they feel like playing, and that's been apparently Cyberpunk and that Rune Factory game. So.
Yep. Yeah, like, this is just a thing. Like, they want to have games on shelves, but they don't want to pay for an expensive storage medium.
Right.
No, well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because these new Switch... You talked about this before the Switch came out in an episode I wasn't present for, so, I mean, it's been covered. Nothing particular has changed other than, as Gaon mentioned, we've got a little bit more data now, I guess, on sales, and you can, try and see if you can spot some sort of, effect somewhere. There'd be something disproportionate that would suggest... people are avoiding things in larger numbers or whatever. But I mean, the fundamentals of it haven't changed. In that these Switch 2 cards that actually have a game on them, which Nintendo's first party games will, are more expensive to produce. So yeah, that's it's squeezing the margins for the third parties straight away, isn't it? I mean, there's always been little elements like this. You could go way back to like the N64, couldn't you? Like virtually so few third party games had battery saves with the cards on N64. They almost all use the controller pack memory card to kind of save money on those cards, because of course when it's a third party game, right, the margins are not as healthy for them, and as healthy as it is for Nintendo when they're just selling their own game. So you're trying to kind of make the numbers add up a little bit more in that case back then by saving on the cartridge cost with that battery saver mission and rely on the controller packs. And in this case, I guess it's just, how many, first of all, does it seem like it's economic for Nintendo to run a whole bunch of variants of these new, more costly cards in terms of it's 64 gigs or bust. I believe you mentioned, last time you addressed this topic. And so, beyond that, then, the only way you've got of preserving these things at retail is something where you really cut the card cost down to a nub, because all it does is just, give you the license to download the thing, which is very much, it seems, I haven't done terribly much, kind of using my Xbox One to play games in the last so many years, and I haven't bought either a PS5 or a Series Xbox console, but that's basically what discs do these days, isn't it? Nobody's playing the whole game off a disc. I guess the thing about Switch 2, I think especially early on, I don't think it necessarily it is going to make it big enough to really show up in sales charts or whatever else. But I guess the limited storage situation that you have with Switch 2 itself, right, in terms of where can you put your games? And the file sizes are getting bigger, and now you need the SD Express to be able to actually run stuff off remote stuff. And obviously, though, that they're not as available in the number of sizes that regular micro SD cards were available for on Switch, and all this kind of stuff. They've got to be faster and all that. And I'm glad there's a lot of things that are great about things being faster on Switch 2. Guillaume already mentioned it. Switch 1 games running faster and all this kind of stuff. But what it does mean is that people haven't got some bottomless SD card thing. Therefore, maybe to avoid fridge cleaning, they would like to be able to buy a game, retail that actually has the game information on it. But in a lot of cases you can't, because it's a third party game and seemingly not exclusively. We know Cyberpunk, which is a big game. It uses the whole 64 gigs or whatever, is actually on that game card or whatever. But in a lot of cases it's not, because it's just a better margin. And we'll have to see if that does show up anymore. But again, it's going to be an evolving situation, presumably. The micro SD Express presumably are going to come down in price and get more capacious varieties as this goes on, especially, as the Switch 2, if it keeps doing well, which it's certainly done very well so far, more and more people are going to want them, they're going to need them, frankly, with the size of the games. It'll fill up the internal storage pretty quickly. And, therefore, at that point, maybe you're not as disappointed that the game key card forces you to use some of that space if you've actually got some at a your more attractive price than it has been so far. I think I ended up getting one very slight kind of reduction on a 512 card for about 80 odd pounds. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good deal, but I'd certainly pro rata the best that it could get. But I'm not naive. I don't think that 512s are going to last that long with some of the file sizes.
Yeah, I haven't been able to get that, so like I'm jealous. But Guillaume, to your point, this is very much a tempest in a teapot thing. Like people don't actually care. I mean, there are people who care deeply, but on average, they don't really care that much. And it's definitely become like this weird refrain that pops up anytime a game gets announced. So is it on a game card or is it a key card?
Like it's some sort of gotcha or something.
Yeah, like no, it's on a key card, fuckers. Because otherwise, we have to charge $80 for the game. Do you want to pay $80 for the game? I don't think you do. But I think the other stark reality is that Nintendo knows that digital sales are up. I mean, you can go look at their quarterly briefings and go see that their digital sales are up as a percentage of the overall sales. Like they know that, we know that, everyone knows that. And retailers are going to be even more zealous about wanting guarantees of price compatibility between digital and retail. Because they know they're losing ground on sales of games in the retail space for two reasons. And this is important. One, people are buying games that are available on retail digitally. The Switch in particular is well suited to that, although I think the Xbox actually is the front runner in terms of percentage sold digitally. And that probably has more to do with the audience that Microsoft has curated as a consequence of the platform and offerings they've put together. And two, and this is another one, there are many games coming out that simply are not retail channel games. And the number continues to grow. And the size of non-retail channel games also continues to grow. So games that would previously have been a retail channel game are now non-retail channel. So in both avenues, that's a cut that the retail providers lose. They're not going to want to see physical copies of the game be more expensive than digital because that will hasten their exodus from the marketplace. And Nintendo needs them as partners for marketing, for product visibility, for the release of hardware, and for accessories and shit like that. And for co-marketing partnerships during like the holidays and stuff. Like all these things matter. Also, Target having a big display for Switch 2 matters for somebody who's going to buy men's clothing sections next to the games in mind. Going to buy jeans so they could see the Switch 2 sign. I'm going to go over and take a look at Switch 2. All that shit matters. So they still have negotiating power despite their falling market position to say, hey, we want to make sure these prices are comparable to what you'd get digitally. And so, yeah, if you want these things to not be on keycard, it'd have to be on a faster storage medium that's expensive to produce with one user. Congratulations. You're going to have to pay like $80 for the game, and that's going to apply to digital as well. Where I'm not going to say a majority, but a large number of people are buying these games. At least with the key card versus code in a box, which is how they would have handled this on Switch. You can still trade it in because the card is your key, not a license key that you apply to your account. So
yeah,
it has advantage that physical media has. Yes, in theory, someday you may no longer be able to download that game. But that is also true of like patches that make make physical games playable. Like it is entirely possible. So there's an IM 8-bit physical version of Tales from the Shire. Not that we're here to dog on that game, but let's fucking dog on that game for a minute. That game is dog shit. But there's a physical version of that game. The publisher of that game no longer exists. There's no one to pay the developers to produce a patch to make that game playable. Is that game ever going to get a patch to be playable? Probably not.
Nope. Highly unlikely. unless some other publisher picks it up for distribution or something.
Right, but it's already out and bad. So
Yeah.
like,
What was the game? There was a game where that actually happened. What was it? I forget.
Oh,
what
I don't
game that
know.
was. Yeah,
But
there was something
I would
that was
imagine-
just completely broken. But
I'd imagine if it happens though, it's more likely to happen on a game that's not out yet, because then you'd still benefit from the initial sales run. But yeah, this is dire. And like, if it did get patched, eventually that patch would also not be available. At the same time, you're talking about the CDNs for the games to be re-downloaded going away. Because it's the same CDNs. Spoilers. So that game having a physical copy, sure. But the game that's on that game cart doesn't get patched. The patch gets installed to your Switch. So when that CDN goes down, you're still going to have a game you can't play. Like, but the reality is Nintendo's actually kept their CDNs up for a long time. I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, can you still re-download Wii games? Or
That is my understanding. Yeah. I mean, I haven't had to try, but I've never seen them confirm. Obviously, the shop went down long ago, but the actual ability to, because again, fridge cleaning, that's where that phrase comes from, right? It was on Wii. Especially before they kind of liberalized things and got a bit of a, kind of more functional setup with the SD card channel update that was a, good few years into the system's life, right? It was like 2009 or something.
Right, because it's a hack.
It was, yes. No, that's pretty much what it was. But, it was a thing of like, well, yeah, obviously they had these file size limitations on games and with WiiWare, they couldn't be like terribly big or whatever. There was 40 megabytes, I want to say. Yeah. But it still added up and you still didn't have that much space and you couldn't use the SD card and you would have to delete things, make space in order to, download other things. And so, yeah, re-downloading things was something I did quite a lot of, during the kind of middle of the Wii's lifespan. But I think after the SD card channel, I think I just had everything there, so I didn't have to kind of consider doing that again. But as far as I'm aware, that has not happened to this point.
That's a 20 or nearly 20-year-old system, and the stuff's still up. Like, this is overblown. This is overblown. But again, like I said, this is, and Guillaume mentioned, there's probably not that many people who actually give a fuck.
And then again, with think about, for me, obviously a lot of the time I'm going to look at it and say, I'd probably just rather have it digital, right? If it's not going to save space, or you don't have the clutter of the actual case, the thing or whatever. But there's still an upside to the game keycard release existing at all, because, it can go on discounts, like at retailers, that it might never go to digitally. It might get really cheap. And then all of a sudden a game that you were kind of like, I'm interested to try it. Maybe you're not sure if it's the kind of thing you'd enjoy. But, the digital discounts never go deep enough, like to kind of, get to the point where you're willing to take that chance. A game keycard release might, or a particular retailer or whatever is having just some, big offer or whatever you could take advantage. The fact that, otherwise it probably just wouldn't be happening at all, a retail release, right? Then at least it gives you that opportunity of like another way to get the game maybe down the line because, you get sales, people want to move stock, whatever. Like that offers something at least, even if you're not that kind of jazzed about, the ugly looking label on the box and all that kind of thing, because a lot of the time people might buy a physical release for the packaging, like the object is appealing or whatever. But of course, because, and they should, it's absolutely proper that they should label it as what it is, that, it is just a card that gives you the license to download the game rather than containing the data the way that Nintendo's first party games do. So I don't criticize it, but it does make it less aesthetically pleasing, doesn't it? That big kind of work. It was much the same with the code in a box stuff, right? On Switch, or like, I think, was it like Wolfenstein, stuff like that? Wolfenstein 2, where you had a big banner of like basically required.
Download. Yeah.
Because again, like stuff like Wolfenstein 2 was just way too big to be economic on Switch. Like, presumably there might have been a game card size on Switch big enough to contain Wolfenstein, but not one that was going to make sense with the margins for the publisher. So, you know, it was download required. Like, and again, this is not hardly an entirely novel situation.
Yeah, this is a different solution to the problem that I actually think is more elegant, because Nintendo knew the problem existed at the beginning versus code in the box, which was this publisher wants this game on retail shelves, but the Switch doesn't have an offering that's big enough, or it's cost prohibitive, the offering that is big enough. And so they improvised code in a box as a solution to that. Or retailers want this game in their channel, but the same scenario plays out. Nintendo at least has a solution for this that preserves some degree of the fidelity of physical. Not all of it, obviously, but a bit. I understand. I don't agree. I understand that people find this frustrating. The reality is, for a console launch, it makes sense for Nintendo to not produce 7 or 8 different size, or even really 4 different sizes of the cartridge. They produce 2. The game card size, which is very, very small, and then the big one.
That's what will be interesting about this as as time goes on. Are there economies that can be achieved with the production of it? Because, I mean, I think with Switch, it wasn't a particularly new format. It was pretty much the same as the Vita one with the Switch cards, right? Like, I don't know. I think it was pretty similar. It wasn't entirely that different. So maybe it was already a little bit mature, in terms of production. Whereas, with this, it seems like, this is like with the micro SD Express, right? It's relatively kind of bespoke stuff, right? There's other kind of applications for it are not that widespread. So
Makes
it's
sense.
like, until the Switch 2 itself has been on the market for years to achieve greater kind of economies of scale or different things you could do, well, then it wouldn't be that likely that you'd have this full range of different card size. And of course, again, it'll depend how things go, won't it? I mean, if the game key cards proves to be broadly in the marketplace a satisfactory solution for third parties, well, then it won't be a particular pressure to say, if we can make the margins work another way with like a cheaper to produce card that has more of game on it, well, then there won't be it won't come forth, will it? Because there won't be any need for it. So it's all going to depend how this plays out in the market, basically, and that'll tell us what really sort of is going on there.
And even then, it's not just that people don't buy the game key cards, it's that they don't also buy that game digitally. Like, we're losing out on sales because it's a game key card. Because all the players except the retail partner would much rather you buy that game digitally. So.
Oh yeah, well this is it. I mean, I think we said all the way back. I remember us talking about Resident Evil Revelations was coming out for the 3DS.
I'm not familiar with that game. Did you mean Revelations?
Yeah. Well, if you're looking at the spine, it's called that.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. If you look at the front cover, it didn't misspell it like in every instance, mercifully. But
no, they were busy putting watermarks of their own art on the Wii games. It's fine.
When that was around the time I think they were first starting to offer the actual full retail game downloads on the 3DS eShop, all those years ago. But even then, I think we said this is probably something. The fundamentals are it's not particularly economic to have all this thing where it's like, well, we've got to make a game card, we've got to make a case, we've got to ship it all around the world, and then on the other hand, we just distribute it digitally. The economic disparity between those two distribution vectors is not going to be matched with the actual disparity in how people consume it for a long time. It's going to be a sort of, in some ways, gallingly slow transition. And it has been. But it's still going on even now. And this is just another phase in it. But, and as you mentioned, that sort of role of retail, which, Nintendo is probably more sensitive to than the other platform. You know, they have because it's a bigger part of their outreach to consumers, you know, than it is, I think, for the other platform holders. So in that sense, here is especially a slow process for Nintendo. But at the same time, the economic reality and imperative has never changed. You know, that's been clear from the beginning. It is going to happen,
right.
And it is still going to happen.
So actually, I'm gonna point this to John to give an idea of how much more it matters to Nintendo. So at my Target, Sony and Microsoft share an aisle. Mm-hmm. Nintendo has an aisle all to themselves, and there's an end cap that's just plush Nintendo figures like Kirby, Pokemon, etc., Mario stuff. So it's a lot of real estate space. My Target has never, and I know this for a fact, never had a PS5 in the case where they put the glass case they put consoles in you can buy. Mm-hmm. Do you know why that is? It's not that they've never had one in stock.
So you're saying that they've never had one out in
the case.
In the glass case where you would have to flag somebody down to unlock it and open it up.
You know, they've never had it.
They've never had it in there. So they just keep them in the back.
Yes. It's a very dumb reason. Think about the PS5.
Was it just too big?
Yes, the box is too big for the case, and they've
really
never
funny.
bothered to replace it because nobody in the Sony-Target relationship actually cares that much.
Yeah.
It will not fit in the case, and I have asked, and they said it doesn't fit.
It's awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And I think it's not going to get any smaller. I mean, the PS5 Pro is no smaller. It's just as big.
No. So they don't... So, like, that doesn't even matter. Like, if they have a Switch 2, because I've actually seen a Switch 2 in their case at one point, it's out there. They put it out there immediately so somebody buys it, and it's sold. It sold while I was there, actually. But, like, no, like, Nintendo, that relationship obviously matters a lot more. Like, Nintendo seems to curate that relationship more. There's a visual thing in the game section. In theme park terms, like they call it a weenie. It's like something to catch your eye that's taller than the other stuff around it. It's Mario on a flagpole. That's the like visual indicator for games are here. Like that shit that matters to Nintendo a lot. But Greg's point is valid. It's gonna happen. Like people buy apps on their phone and on they don't buy tablets anymore. When tablets were a thing, they bought apps on their tablet. Steam has already killed Steam and others have killed the physical retail space for games for PC. Xbox users basically play their shit on Game Pass. We actually, part of the whole mess around Xbox, we've actually gotten to hear that actually is kind of a big cannibalizer of sales. I assume Sony fans are likewise prone to buying digitally more so than their Nintendo counterparts, but it's going to happen. So, you know, why invest in producing production lines for a 32 gigabyte version of this card and a 128 gigabyte version of this card and a 16 gigabyte, et cetera, et cetera. Like, anytime you have to divide up your production line, it's more cost. And also, you're bringing another player into the financial relationship, and they need to get their blood from the stone, too. So, I don't know. We might have spent more time on this than we needed to. Do we have an email about it? Can we say we retroactively answered an email or proactively answered an email, I guess? I'll say we did. I'll say we did an email. But we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, we're going to answer some email. So stay tuned. Email! It's time for an email segment. We haven't done a dedicated email segment in a little bit. Emails go to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. It's rfn@nintendoworldreport.com, rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. There's a link in the article.
Are you auctioning off the
I'm auctioning off emails, yes. There is a link in the article.
You know, to people to not use the website, to go...
I was going there. Yeah, okay. I was going there. There's a link in the article. Don't use it. It doesn't work. So send your emails to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. I'm trying. Okay. We'll see what happens. but that's RFN at NintendoWorldReport.com. Do go read the article. Don't click on any links to send emails. Send them to RFN at NintendoWorldReport.com using the email client of your choice. We don't care. We will accept your emails from whatever client you use, even if you're some Thunderbird sicko. So, with that, emails. Guillaume, I'd like you to read the first email.
Sure. Mark writes, "Hey RFN crew. So I've been playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I can't help but raise an eyebrow at one particular feature. Outside of your getaways stands Trusty Tone, who morphs into different shops on request. Every time you use his services, he begs for a tip. Not subtly. We're talking full-on guilt trip, rock-shaming you into coughing up some of your hard-smashed gold. Which got me thinking, is this Nintendo making a quiet jab at late-stage capitalism? Has tipping culture gotten so out of hand that even the sedimentary beings are getting in on the action? Is this some kind of mineral-based metaphor for gig economy exploitation? Or did someone on the devs team just really want to stick it to DoorDash? And on that note, what other annoying or unexpected video game characters would you like to see aggressively panhandling for tips? Let's set the rule that Tom Nook is disqualified. He's already basically the landlord from Rent with better branding. Personally, I'd love to see Sleepy Toad, who now charges $5 to not talk during boss fights, or Navi from Ocarina of Time. You want her to stop yelling, hey? That will cost you. Anyway, keep up the great work, and thanks for keeping my ears entertained through many a banana horde."
The landlord from Rent who has the audacity to want people to pay rent. Yep. What a villainous character. This building that we've agreed to occupy, we expect, no. It's bad. It's bad. That's not the reason rent's bad. Rent's bad because rent's bad. So it's funny because he doesn't really ask for it. Like, he doesn't ask every time you use him. And he only asks for 10 gold, which is obscenely trivial number in this game. Like, 10 gold, it's almost impossible to not collect 10 gold. We were talking before the show. I'm sitting on like 180,000 right now. Just because you run out of things to spend it on. Gold, despite being the primary economy, isn't very useful in this game.
Yeah, I think that's what's at the heart of it, really, isn't it? Is it does feel like it's part of a series of things, which is just like maybe came about in a subsequent like pass through the game's like incentive structures and currency systems of like, yeah, we should have more things that cost gold just to give people a feeling more than a reality of it being, like there is some imperative and some desire to smash the gold, collect more gold, and maybe it just makes it more satisfying and, they play the game more the way you think is going to be the most fun for them. Because if you just keep giving these little ultimately kind of trivial like motivators where it's like kind of because there's all sorts of things. There's like, we talked about it quite a lot of the layers. They have aspects that are a little bit like a Metroid structure where it's like, okay, you explore the level one way, sort of one direction, and then like you will get shortcuts. It might be that in some cases it's just like, there's a rope and you unfurl it and then you can climb up this big, kind of vertical distance just by going up the rope rather than having to do any fancy platforming stuff or whatever. But there's other things where it's like barrel, sort of cannons, right? Where they'll shoot you back across some other bit of the level, again, skipping out a bunch of more complex navigation. And that's all like, we can, make this barrel cannon shortcut, but you got to pay us. All those the mineral people, whatever, they're just like, pay us and we'll clear this debris and you could do this, or we'll make this shortcut, we'll do this thing. And again, the sums involved tend to be really small, right? But it's just each step of these sorts of processes, it feels like they've like, is there an opportunity here to make it feel like the gold actually does stuff, actually gets you things, and that tipping thing is just, kind of another one of those. Yeah. And for the record, because I don't know with how everybody's instincts, where it took them. But I mean, I always tipped the guy, and you get more. You get the discs for that. You get the records, the for the sound test. You know, the music tracks.
Stuff. Yeah,
it's not necessarily. Yeah, no, exactly. I didn't think the strike rate was that high, actually.
It's not. I've only gotten it once.
I think some people might be under the impression it doesn't do anything, because you might tip him quite a few times and never get anything and then think that that's it. But yeah, that's basically the reward. And that's the thing. I mean, it's a bit odd, those records, isn't it? Because it's like, sometimes I get them in bunches.
Yes.
Like when I'm fighting a bunch of enemies, and it's like you get one and then all of a sudden more show up. It's like some sort of pinball, multi-ball nonsense or something. I don't know what governs it exactly. It's quite strange.
That battle, so we were talking for the show about an endgame battle arena area, or post-game. And one of the challenges in it, for whatever, and so I think certain enemies have different spawn rates for it. I will regularly get 2 or 3 records in just running through that thing. And that's like, in 20 seconds.
Yeah, then on the other hand, like, I mean, that I mentioned, like, going through to the end of the game, the credits, and generally sort of maintaining that kind of 70% kind of collection rate on the bananas, and pretty close with the fossils as well. I was way behind that on records, because you don't find them. You know, like I said, they have to just like spawn seemingly somewhat randomly when you're fighting enemies, or you get them by tipping Trusty Tone, as Mark mentions there. So it's like, I was nowhere near that 70% rate with those, but yeah, doing some of the post game stuff, there's like some essentially a buff that you can use in the post game. So all of a sudden it went way up, and I got all the records, and all of a sudden he doesn't ask for a tip anymore, because you can't get, there is no potential reward anymore, because I've got all the records I could get. So, that's clearly that is the point there, is, just with the records. Whether there's a broader, sort of point that they're trying to make, I'd rather doubt it. But, I guess it's just, we mentioned it the last week, they put a little bit more effort into the world building than I was expecting, and I guess this is just one such example.
I actually viewed him not as like a tipping culture thing, but more as he's a concierge, which would make sense given where he is, given the fact I think he's like a bow tie on too. It's more akin to like if you go to like a really high end club, or sometimes even high end restaurants, or like a music venue. There are people in the bathroom who are like, let me help you with that, sir. Let me help let me run the lint roller over your suit, that kind of stuff.
Yes,
and like, you're not
or if you're in the Overlook Hotel, and it's the former caretaker of the hotel, and in his dinner suits, and you should not listen to him. Don't listen to him. Don't tip him either. But more important that you don't listen.
Your money's no good here, Greg.
Yeah, it's not about like giving a large tip you might to like a server in that context. It's like $1. It's like you're just giving them something to like sort of acknowledge, thank you for assisting me with this. It's much more trivial. It's a pittance. Very similar concept with this. Like, he's a concierge. He's there to help these two with whatever services they need. I've done this at hotels where it's like, I could very easily have called that taxi and dealt with it myself, but I just asked the concierge to do it. And then I gave him like $3, which he's fine with, because like all he had to do was make a phone call. Wasn't a big deal for him, but it's just kind of like an acknowledgement of it's more of a thank you than like an explicit tip, if that makes sense. It's kind of, it's a weird, like, influx of using money as a thank you mechanism versus like, I'm not paying him explicitly for the service. It's more just like me showing gratitude, gratuity. And that's where the term comes from. So like, he sort of fits the theming of what he is, which is he is essentially a butler for your little hotel rooms that you can find throughout the world. And he's not at all of them either, which I thought was interesting. He's only at some of them.
I think it's just the ones that you build that he shows up at, like, because there's
you build all of them. or almost all of them.
I think there's the odd one where at least you have like the bed and the gramophone and the wardrobe. Like like there's the odd one that doesn't have him and that you haven't built, but it has all the other stuff that you get at the getaway. So I forget now.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen some where I built it, but he still wasn't there.
It's possible. It might depend on the position of it, because some of them are quite like like on the edge of the level. Like you just sort of opens a window to like just you can step out and then it's like a precipice.
And in some cases, it's also quite ridiculous because it's in the town. So like the shops that he's emulating are next door. So like his utility is quite limited in that case, but
that's the thing. It's like that's a lot of it with the shop stuff is just like they want, again, I guess some of it's like they want to have an incentive to explore and find all these different getaways, and then again you build them with money. You pay the sort of little house shaped kind of mineral person to construct the thing in the first place, and then the more of them you find, the bigger the health buff you get when you actually go to sleep there. And as we said, you get those little conversations sort of with a silent, potentially asleep DK, just listening to Pauline. But yeah, I guess it's just all part of this weird, like, so much of the game is pretty much to do what you want, but they have these pretty like toothless little incentive structures to get to sort of suggest things to you more than like full on enforce your kind of decision making, and it all kind of hangs together in a slightly strange, loose kind of way.
Yeah, it's like I don't think it's commentary on tipping culture, which I have recently been asked to tip at a self-service kiosk in an airport. You can say no. I'm just going to let everybody know you are empowered to say no.
It's the same thing kind of with like tipping at Starbucks. It's like
if they had to prepare you a drink, then I can see it. If it's just like I grabbed it off the shelf, it depends. Well, like I have been with the girlfriend, and her drink is the most complicated it's fucking alchemy. It's like I'm like, what did you just order? Like I hear the order and I'm like, that wasn't English anymore. And it's like, fucking pay whatever the tip is, because you just asked them to produce non-fat, non-dairy, non-cow involved milk, but then steam it, and then I was like, no, that's fucking work, man. That's more work than I do in a day.
Yeah, I don't tip Starbucks anymore. Fuck them.
All right. That's your call, man. That's your.
I don't tip them anymore.
They're spitting in your latte.
It's like you get you look in your little recipe book and make me a caramel macchiato. That's it. Done. See ya. I don't need any special treatment. I tip elsewhere. I generously tip. But Starbucks,
unless you work at Starbucks, then get fucked.
pretty much. Well, it's like, but I mean, it's about as close to fast food as you can get.
Starbucks, get fucked.
It's like when did Starbucks start doing something that's so out of the ordinary, aside from doing what they literally are there to do, which is make you a coffee? Like, if someone comes in, I mean,
John's going to get canceled at the end of this episode.
The Starbucks people are going to come after me. But
he's going to get canceled, and we're going to put him in a fire. It's going to be great.
Starbucks people get fucked. You're not getting my $1. That's it. There you go.
What is 15% on a Starbucks order, John? I'm just curious. What are we talking about here?
I don't know. I mean, I go in there. My staple is I go in, I get a caramel macchiato, venti, cold. Okay.
And
I get an iced lemon loaf. That's my thing. That costs you about like $10.75, something like that. And I'm like, man, all right, that's enough. I'm not giving you another $1. It's not happening. You guys are unionized or whatever. So
unionized or whatever.
You know what I mean? It's like it just seems silly.
Man.
It seems silly to me.
We didn't even ask him to reveal this. He chose to do this. This was his decision.
I'm just saying, it's just one of those things. It gets under my skin. You got me going.
All right. So let's say you're not at a Starbucks.
Okay.
Let's say you're at a Seattle's Best, Are you
I'm
going to
not
tip
tipping that.
those fuckers? Or
I'm
are
not
you
tipping. No way. No. Seattle's best, even less. No way.
It's the
No
best,
way.
John. It's the
even-
best. It's in,
No
it
way.
would be a crime if it wasn't. It's in the name.
It's even a lesser brand, man. It's like if you're tipping at Starbucks, you might as well just start tipping at McDonald's. I mean, what are we even doing? Come on. It's fast food.
I'm not-
Like if I'm tipping somebody, then it's going to be for a sit-down dining experience. That's all I'm saying.
That's all he's saying.
To me, that is a reasonable exchange of extra services for extra money.
What if you have to bust your own table?
No, I'm not tipping anybody then.
What if they bust your table, but you have to get it's quick serve, so you have to go up to the window to order it?
Probably wouldn't tip then either. I don't know. Like, I don't mind tipping for somebody actually doing something for me above and beyond. Like, I appreciate that.
Okay. What if somebody made the best fucking coffee you've ever had? What if you drank it and you're like, holy shit? Are you to go back and be like, I'm sorry?
Well, that would not happen at a Starbucks.
Here's the $1.53 that I would have tipped you.
I have gone to coffee shops in certain places that are not chains, right? That's also another thing where, like, if I'm at some sort of franchise chain kind of place, I'm not going to tip, most likely. I mean, unless it's, whatever. It's like a sit-down dining experience. I don't mind.
TGI Fridays, yes, we're going to tip at TGI Fridays.
I would, absolutely.
Okay, good.
I would.
I wouldn't.
For sure.
I wouldn't go into a TGI Fridays, but I would certainly tip there.
Oh. Well, there you go. You're just too good for a TGI Fridays.
I'm too good for it.
You're
You know what?
Too bougie for a TGI Fridays.
Yes, I will deal. I will deal with the Chili's, but a TGI Fridays needs to get the fuck out of my life.
I'm going to Ruby Tuesdays, TGI Fridays. Hey, whatever gets the job done.
Go. Is there an Applebee's line? Will you cross the Applebee's line?
I would absolutely go to Applebee's. Cheesecake Factory, bring it.
I've been kicked out of an Applebee's. It wasn't my fault, to be clear.
Hey.
I
happens.
wish it had been. It would have been more fun. Banned from Applebee's would be I would put that on my business card. James Jones, banned from Applebee's.
I like it.
Fuck. It'd be fucking amazing. Imagine giving that out at E3, John.
Nobody would hold it against you.
No, they'd be like, what happened? And I'd be like, what was Christmas Eve? And they'd be like, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. But, like, just give that to, like, I don't know, somebody at Capcom at E3.
Yeah.
Like, there'd be a long pause, and then in their head, they're thinking, do I ask? I mean, he put it on his business card. It's got to be legal to ask. Like,
sort of like an extension of, like, Chris Kohler's business cards at E3. Yeah, he always has good business cards.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you hand it out at PAX, everyone's going to ask. Be like, well, what happened at the Applebee's?
Yeah.
And we're like, well, there's pending litigation. You can't talk about it right now.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter if that's true or not. Honestly, I might just order that anyway. I might just have my business card say banned from Applebee's in italics.
Mm-hmm.
8 font? Is 8 font good for that? Like, it's like 12 for my name and then 8 for the banned from Applebee's. I think that's fair. Embossed, obviously.
I could just see you giving your business card to, like, Miyamoto or something.
Yeah, banned from Applebee's. What is an Applebee's?
Being like,
Applebee's? What is Applebee's?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Anyway.
Anyways, before that departure into tipping culture.
Yeah. I need to see if John tips Trusty Tone when he finally gets around to playing Donkey Kong. Would you tip a concierge at a hotel, John?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, if they gave me some good information, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like their whole job is to be customer service.
Yeah, absolutely.
In like a very weird, almost personal way.
Yeah, a place like that, it's sort of like especially like the higher end of the hotel, pretty much every single person that talks to you expects some sort of a tip, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah,
even
like
if it's something small.
Tipping for, like, I have a tipping budget when I travel for work just for things like tipping the cleaning staff when I check out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, you leave $20 or something.
I've been in there for a goddamn week. It's like, I'm going to tip these people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. 3-star plus, there's expectation. 2-star, 1-star, things are different. Things are different. I want a 1-star hotel to have a concierge. I just want to know what that person would be telling. Like, where's the best place to get blow near here? I would be like,
I'm only here for one night. Can you give me some recommendations?
That's right. Well, there's a Hooters across the highway. It's like, all right. What else you got?
I'll be gone by 2 a.m.
That's right.
Where can I stagger to?
Can I get room service? What? No.
Room service.
Absolutely not.
Wink, wink.
Oh. We'll take care of that, sir.
I got you.
Jesus Christ. All right, we need another email. Ben writes, Gentlemen, scholars, and John. I was recently listening to a podcast interview of an author who gave the advice of making sure you dislike your characters, specifically your main character, enough to let bad things happen to them. If you are too precious with them, nothing bad will ever happen, so the story will feel fake and not get taken seriously. I read some books recently where it seems the author took that concept too seriously, wondering if they hate their creation with the fervor of Dr. Frankenstein felt towards his monster. Do any games come to mind where you are convinced the developer hated the main character, besides Waluigi, that is, Love the Snow? Guillaume, you said you had some answers for this?
Yes, I did, but so one title, I forget what it is that I... Anyway, it will come back to me.
Answers for this.
Yes.
Yes.
So, to me, like the what pops to mind would be like the early Tomb Raider games. The one where you see Lara just like die gruesome deaths.
The early reboot games specifically, or the original PlayStation
No,
era
the
games?
Originals, because like you had her like impaled on spikes and drowning, and like it was all very kind of graphic for the time, you know.
Okay.
Like we're talking about very primitive graphics, but still, like the way that each death has its own animation, kind of. I don't know if they hated Lara Croft, but
I think they just were impressed what they could do.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
Eidos was just like, look at the shit we can do.
Right.
But the ones that were like 360 era later, the reboots, like they also were like, look at the fucking agony we can show on screen. Like, look at this. Look at that agonizing suffering. Look at that human condition.
Yeah, I don't know. I only played the first one of those, and it did not grab me because the story had Lara go through hell, but the game had her just like regenerate like Wolverine.
Yeah, maybe she is.
That felt really weird, you know, because at some point, like, she's going through some perhaps literal shit. Like she's been like shot at, and she's kind of crawling through the mud, and she's not regenerating then for the purposes of this slightly interactive cutscene, basically. But that's the only part where she doesn't just heal automatically after 10 seconds. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like the originals were more graphic and were more also, harder on the player as well.
That might also be Mortal Kombat effect for those of just like, we could do spike impaling too, see, in 3D.
Mm-hmm. Now, what is the game I'm thinking about? The indie darling that's in black and white, the little boy who dies gruesomely all the time.
Limbo,
thank you. Yes, Limbo.
Yeah.
I played that originally, just like everyone else. I was enthralled. Like I really enjoyed it because the game has a very striking art style that we hadn't really seen in the game before. And like it's just one of those games where there are puzzles to solve, but you don't always know what the puzzle is until the boy's head is lopped off by a bear trap that just closed in on him. So then, like, you regenerate, like, basically, like, you go back to the checkpoint, and then now you know, okay, at this spot there's a bear trap, and you jump over it, and then, I don't know, something else kills you, impales you, or whatever it is. So yeah, I really enjoyed it the first time I played it, but then I tried to play it maybe, I don't know, like 8 years ago. I don't recall, but like much after it came out originally, and I couldn't really get past the first level. I was like, what are we doing here? It seems really sadistic for no reason. And I just could not really see what I really enjoyed about the game in the first place. I don't know, I kind of lost my desire to see, a little kid get beheaded, I suppose.
Well, that's the thing, is it? I guess, like, I mean, you think of something like Super Meat Boy, right? Where it's like, okay, we're going to have this character that, the nature of the game is kind of like, Kaizo platformers, right? You're going to die a lot. And it's very upfront about that. But, we're going to have the character be just this sort of block of meat that can get, kind of butchered by the hazards all the time. I guess that's kind of, you could interpret it as them, creating a character, that you could not so much dislike, but it's just like being different to, right? It's just, it's just a bit of meat, so you won't be put off the way that it seems like you were the second time you played Limbo. So yeah, I guess that's one kind of it, where just like creating it's different reasons than like emotional investment, I guess. Just right. More of a kind of aesthetic thing, but still, like, don't want people projecting anything onto the character that they wouldn't be comfortable watching it die again and again and again, and in sort of unpleasant, gruesome ways.
Yeah, and one slightly different answer that's not about violence or anything. There's the classic example of the Super Mario Land movie games, especially Super Mario Land 2, where you kind of get the impression that the team that made the Super Mario Land games doesn't really care about Mario all that much. Especially when you make your way to Mario Land, where you have a whole level set in his crotch, it seems. And also, like, the game has Mario own an entire castle, has like his own kind of toy statue of himself. Like kind of paints Mario under a very different light than what we had been used to before then. And so, like, it's not the Super Mario Land games are not by the people who created Mario, and so, like, maybe you can kind of see that maybe eventually, once they came up with Wario, they were a little bit more interested in going in that direction.
And again, they delighted in doing all sorts of stuff to Wario, and that was the point, wasn't it? Right? It's just like, they created a character that's like, we're going to set him on fire, we're going to turn him into a zombie, all this, and it's, part of the game, right? And again, you create this character that's kind of anti-hero, that's this sort of gross, weird thing. Like, you can do that. Whereas, like, with Mario, it was a bit too, that wouldn't have sort of matched. If people are, maybe they feel like people are too attached to Mario, and maybe, the rest of the company is like, this is what he's like. I mean, certainly over the years, they've been more after, the Game Boy period, but they've been very rigid about, how he can look and all that, even, to the point that sort of like, relatively modest, like Super Mario Brothers Wonder feels like kind of a big liberalization, that you're just not as rigid as the new Super Mario Brothers games for presenting Mario and the other characters and the world that they inhabit. So that shows you Wario is a good example of the utility of having a character that's not meant to be lovable.
I would say, moving away from Nintendo stuff into some other characters, I would say many of the Resident Evil protagonists, not because of the damage they take in fighting, but if you think about, like, the shit Leon's been put through, where he's just an officer trying to do a job, gets dragged through zombie hell, and then is effectively voluntold to join a special operations unit because of his experience going through hell, that ends with him. I think he's still involved in shit by, like, RE7. He's just getting dragged along by the winds of fate, and he's making dumb mistakes along the way. The same thing probably goes with, like, anybody who's held the name Snake in a Metal Gear Solid game.
Mm-hmm. What your thoughts on a certain Mr. Bryce?
Yeah, Yeah, it's kind of the same deal.
It does.
Similar.
Like, yeah, they put him through everything. Good for the uninitiated, which surely must be a trivial
The majority.
percentage of the audience. Everyone knows. Everyone. The cultural touchstone. Raymond Bryce from Disaster Dave Crisis.
Yes.
Who basically gets the sort of Jack Bauer on steroids treatment. Where
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, obviously all this stuff happened to Bauer, but, were there fire tornadoes and,
No, a bear.
tsunamis and a bear, obviously the bear.
A bear
There was-
in a burning forest.
Yeah, all at the same time. No, is the short answer.
No, Jack Bauer would have pissed himself facing what Raymond Bryce had to deal with. But like in the Metal Gear Solid games, like they consistently, whoever is the current Snake, is almost certainly in a bad position because of the decision of people more powerful than them. And anytime they make an effort to assert their authority and stand up to that power to make the situation better, their own ego largely, or their own stupidity, or their own hubris, which is slightly different than ego, oftentimes makes the situation wildly worse. And suddenly they're now facing the entirety of the U.S. Special Forces Special Forces Command while also being hunted by the Soviets because they decided they were sick of this shit and concocted a very stupid plan. But just like a consistent of the people who are your bosses are putting you in shitty situations. And when you finally go to do something about it, you do the dumbest thing possible. You could make a similar argument with like a Kiryu character, but that might actually be the opposite here, where the people who make that game clearly love Kiryu too much. They won't let him go. He has retired 3 times. And yet he was in the next game every time, because they can't look away. He's too perfect. But he gets in trouble because he's stupid. Because he's a little bit too egotistical. He's got a little too much pride. His moral compass is too regulated. He thinks he can do things his own way in the face of a multinational crime syndicate. And it be okay. And it's very not okay. But he's too dumb to just break away when he gets the chance either. Like he keeps pulling himself back in. And bad things keep fucking happening to him. But he's such a perfect, pure individual that he almost defies the rule. Like, what's he gonna do? He's gonna found an orphanage. He's gonna be the best man. He's gonna be the best guy. He's going to face the Japanese prime minister down for his crimes against the health of the Japanese senior citizens for political gambit, and he's going to make him reverse his position on threat of being exposed. I'm not even going to give you context for that. It's true. I'm not going to give you context for it because it's better if you don't have it. There's just so much shit where it's just like they drag him through an absolute fucking shit show. And he gets nothing out of it. Like his station in life is not in any way, shape, or form improved at the end of the game. Any material gains he amasses, he immediately surrenders. And then he just I want to live a normal life. And then like Odysseus, unable to return to Ithaca, he is dragged back into some shit almost immediately 364 days later. Because these games always take place at Christmas. I don't know why. They just always do. And then it's back to work. Back to work for Kiryu. Even his friends are like, man, you should really get out of this shit. And he's like, yeah, I should. And then they get dragged into that fucking bullshit too. This is how much of just like a living albatross that man is. It's like, I guess you could argue if he had just done what he could have done to stay away, he'd have been fine. But he just couldn't fucking stay away. And so, trouble ahead at all times, all the time. Dead Space's protagonist goes through it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I would say pretty much any Glenn Schofield game.
Yeah.
Callisto Protocol is the same.
Yeah.
Just the it's like congratulations. Through no fault of your own, you are stranded in the outer limits of space, all by yourself. And you're on a vessel that is pretty much overtaken by zombies. So, yeah.
think part of the he didn't say it in the question, but I think part of the quote here really speaks to, it needs to not just be bad things keep happening to this person, because you can be, I'll use a biblical example. You can be Job, and God's just got a bet with the devil, and he's going to give you a bad time. It's not Job's fault these things are happening. God's just being a dick. Whereas a lot of, like, for it to be character driven, this character is flawed in a way that causes some degree of their own suffering. I think that's a more important, like, we don't love this character so much that we're willing to let bad things happen to them. Because if you have a character you really, truly love, but are still writing a story, you're going to do bad things to that character, but they're going to triumph every single time and come out better, or at least the same from it. They're going to be as good as they were going in, if not better. They're not going to be debilitated by it. They're not going to be shaken by it. Their moral compass isn't going to be harmed. It's not going to gray the light of their soul. They're going to be they're not going to be a lesser version of themselves as a consequence of this. And they certainly won't be the catalyst for their own suffering. They didn't open Pandora's box. It was opened for them. I think what the quote's speaking to is a character who you're willing to have the flaws that result in them ending up in this mess. Maybe not all of it. Maybe some of it is driven by external forces, and how they react to those external forces makes it worse or dims the light of their soul in some particular way. This could be like your Nico Bellic character, who didn't choose as a child to be a child soldier doing a genocide, but he certainly did do it. And he has certainly adopted violence as his method of solving problems as a consequence of that trauma. He didn't have to do that. He could have picked a different choice, but I think that's what makes GTA 4 so fucking insufferable, is that he's like, I just want the bomb to go off. Like, he's a bad character because he does bad shit. And that's true for a lot of, but usually they're an anti-hero. He's the problem too.
He's not likable at all, is the problem in that game.
He's a war criminal.
Yeah.
Like, he's a war criminal. Like, it just is what it is. So like, he's not an anti-hero. He's just a villain. And there are other villains. It's the opposite of like an Arthur Morgan, who's kind of an anti-hero. He's still a criminal, but he's also standing up to, his flaws are getting in the way of him making a principled stand. And instead he's relying on the tools that he has, which are largely violence oriented. I think that's the challenge with this kind of a character. Cause like, you don't want your purest Snow character where bad things happen to them, but they get up just as strong as they went down. There needs to be at least some degree of, you fucked up and that's why this sucks. Does anybody else got any others? Besides Kart from Mario Kart, which knows what it did.
It's always you gotta be willing to do all sorts of stuff to that kart, haven't you? Bomb it, banana it, shell it, all the things. No, it's about what kind of experience you want to make is the ultimate thing. You know, I mean, I think it's perfectly fine to have certain experiences where, you know, you have a character that's just sort of maximally appealing. I mean, you may or may not execute on that, or especially with a given person or, you know, audience. But, you know, that's what you want. You want maximum emotional investment in that character. And, you know, maybe that might make it in some ways more predictable in terms of the expectations from the audience at that point as well. They're not gonna do this. They're not gonna make me, you know, like this character as much as they have and then do something bad to them. But, you know, I kind of feel like there's always going to be an element of that, I think, you know, with expectations and some of that subconscious. But I feel like, you know, with different, you know, the popularity of some things over the years, more anti-heroes, more different kinds of storytelling, you know, and then, you know, sort of it sticks out more when characters actually are virtuous sometimes. But then, you know, equally, I feel like that there's more willingness to do bad stuff to likable characters. It doesn't mean they're perfect to be likable. Right. But, so, yeah, I feel like, you know, there's just, as time goes on, you know, media continues to iterate on itself, you know, that you have to subvert some of these expectations sometimes, right? Otherwise, it's just going to be even more, you know, just samey, even more, just the same things getting recycled over and over again, which is, you know, it's always going to be a big part of the kind of experiences that are told. But yeah, obviously with games, it can be a little different, right? In terms of people's engagement with a character is a little bit less driven strictly by, okay, you know, what do they say about things? How do they feel? How do they show their emotions? Right? Because I always find it a little bit surprising, but I don't think it's like, there shouldn't be, you know, it's not that hard to understand, I guess, but how much like affection, and I do think it is genuine affection there is for like player insert silent protagonist type characters, you know, like Link.
Yeah.
I find that kind of surprising how much, like, you know, how invested people are in Link, considering he mostly just seems to be a vector for you to kind of put yourself in their place, you know, as this, and imagine, you know, you going through these experiences that the character is going through. But there definitely is, you know, and even, you know, something that isn't an ongoing franchise like Zelda, so much, where, you know, you have all these different links over all this different period of time for people to kind of get invested in. Like, people will talk about, you know, a spoiler for an old game here, but it is kind of important to the point I'm making, I think. In Chrono Trigger, Chrono dies, right? So it's
right.
Like, you know, and people talk about the effectiveness of that moment to them a lot of the time. It seems to me kind of almost like more effective than I would have thought, because he's a player insert. I care more about the other characters because they are characters. They talk. They emote more than he does, right? He's just kind of a relatively sort of ordinary protagonist. But even so, the fact that you're playing the game and it is an insert character, people get attached even to something like that. So I do think it is a somewhat different kettle of fish when you're dealing with a video game and people do have the level of participation that they do in, you know, the way narratives unfold and stuff. You know, that level of emotional investment can be kind of less, as they say, earned, you know, than it is in other media, but, you know, it kind of does feel that way.
I actually think, I was wondering if I wanted to go there, but I think I do, because you mentioned Link. I think Link actually has a good job of, despite being silent, having a good amount of personality, especially in Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. I think...
Well, and earlier I'd say Wind Waker, I think, definitely.
Yeah, Wind Waker
was a
big,
big moment for that in terms of, like, giving him more personality than he'd ever had before and making the narrative more effective, even though fundamentally he was still noises like he was in Ocarina.
Ah!
You know?
Yeah. I think Breath of the Wild in particular, more than Tears of the Kingdom, has an interesting dichotomy where it's got both of the things I'm talking about. Link is pure, he's perfect, he does everything, he's a hard worker, he's talented, he strives, no one has anything bad to say about Link. People seem irresistibly drawn to him. He attracts the romantic affection of a fish. He is unbearably perfect, to the point where it is a thing that Zelda complains about in her diary. He is unimaginably perfect. It's not fair. Zelda is none of those things. She is flawed. She is failing. She is struggling. She is not focused on the things that are important. And she is the catalyst for everything going fucking wrong, because she empowers the things that end up being the weapons that turn against them. And so, like, there is a certain amount of both of those characters are represented. The idea of the perfect character who does no wrong, but is still put through some real fucked up suffering, versus the character who isn't perfect, who has problems, and who makes some bad choices, and is put through some fucking shit as well. And you can kind of see why one struggles a little bit more from a storytelling standpoint than the other. Because Link basically took a 100-year-long nap, gets up, and is like, it's kind of cold, I should put on some clothes. Whereas Zelda spent 100 years trapped inside a pig monster the ghost of a pig monster, I guess. I don't know. It's very confusing. But like, it makes sense that like Link just picks up and just does whatever. He's back to what he's doing. Oh, I guess I should go deal with that, huh? Okay. I'm gonna go have an adventure though. It'll be fine. We never really get to see him have an emotional response to anything that's happening because he's perfect. He's got to be perfect all times. Stoic to a fault. So yeah, I think there is a little bit of like, if he had more personality, if he could be more, if he could struggle more, if that was allowed, if he could make mistakes, which he really, like, if he ever makes a mistake, Link's mistake is always he's too trusting. It's never that he made the bad call. It's that he cared too much for people who were in trouble and he was gonna help them. It's one of the like, I'm gonna put flaws in my character. Or actually no, a better example would be like if you're in the middle of an interview and they're like, what's your character flaw? Well, sometimes I care too much. When I get that doing interviews, and I have legitimately gotten that one in the last 2 years, it is everything I can do not to laugh. It is so fucking hard. But there is like some of that there. And you can see why it works a little bit better. Why Zelda might be a more interesting character in that game, not just because she has dialogue, because her dialogue mostly sucks. It's that she was in a large degree the straw that stirred the drink that set the story up in both games. But particularly in Breath of the Wild. So there's some stuff there around like, hey, here's what a character who has problems. And it's not to say they're a bad character. It's just they have problems. They have flaws. They have imperfections. That things don't come easy to them. They are not perfect. I would even argue that in spite of how his story ends, well, that's not true. In spite of how his story ends in his game, not in how his story ends overall, Rex is a flawed character who goes through some shit as a consequence of his flaws and his youth and his emotional immaturity. That's why I said, and his emotional insecurity.
It's like he doesn't really. It shouldn't be expected of him to be.
No, I agree.
Link is sometimes a child. In the Zelda games, I guess it's somewhat similar.
I agree,
but obviously the level of complexity of the woes of Xenoblade's 2 worlds are so much more sophisticated than you generally get. Especially in the Zelda games where Link is a child, I don't think I ever really got over the disconnect there of like it's
a trans-dimensional degree of suffering has been generated in this world.
It feels wrong to have the protagonist of the game where these are the problems be this young and be this kind of incapable of kind of grappling with them properly. But I guess it's meant to be about the kind of, the power of youth to like not accept things that are bad and to be they're the only people that can change some of this stuff.
Resisting what is literally a universal constant written into the fiber of reality in a very explicit and specific sort of way. But it's not just that. It's that like, anyone would struggle to comprehend the degree of woe baked into the universe in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because it is literally beyond cosmic. It is divine woe. It is woe created by the universe's creator, intrinsic to the world, explicitly created as an act of will. It is as if when the great song is sung in Middle-earth, the creator was like, no, I want the bad shit. Put it in there. Put that bad music in. Let's do this. It is
rather than that Melkor riffing.
It's freestyle bullshit. No, this is just straight up like, hey, God sucks in this game. He sucks. He's bad. He's mean. He's a fucking failure of a person. God is the problem in that. It's very rare you run into a narrative where like, what's the problem? Well, God sucks. Okay. All right, well, that's a challenge.
Not so much in Japanese RPGs, I guess. It is, although a lot of them have come from that same creator of Xenoblade, right? But it is more of a refrain there about what if God is real and he's not particularly kind of benevolent.
My favorite part about it is that Rex solves all these. They're beyond intractable problems. They're problems so deep that people don't even recognize that they're problems. Like they are so fundamental to reality that people don't recognize that they don't have to be that way. He solves all this problem because he meets a girl with big boobs and he's turned on by it because he's 15 or 14 or whatever. That's it. That's the power that motivates him. And there's a weird part that's like, yeah, this person's had a teenage son. Absolutely has had a teenage son. There it is. We've seen it. Why are you doing all these things? Why met a girl? Okay. You just keep cleaning that car then. It's still gonna be a piece of shit, but it'll be a clean one. She'll be very impressed. It's beautiful. I love dumbass Rex. I love him so much. He's the perfect encapsulation of idiot child, motivate, but with incredible motivation for, let's say, not the most altruistic reasons, but the most believable ones. If Rex like, I'm doing this to save the world, I'd be like, bullshit. Are you doing this because you know multiple hot women who want you to do it? Okay. There's our answer. Good job. You're 14. I totally understand. Brain is exploding with hormones. It's okay. I won't judge you too harshly. I'll judge you harshly at the end of the game because of that. I won't judge you so harshly because your teenage self is motivated by this. Fuck, the end of that game is so funny. Why is it so funny now? Like, it was funny then, but it's funnier. It's funnier after Future Redeemed. If that's possible. Like, Future Redeemed somehow makes that ending funnier. God, he's still suffering in that, isn't he?
That's the thing. You actually get to see him old and somewhat kind of, he's not like a broken man or anything, but he's at least
chastened a little bit.
He's kind of scuffed up a bit, you know what I mean? He's not as like irrepressibly kind of, yes, let's just solve everything with the power of positivity or whatever.
He's dealing with the teenage daughter.
Which to me is the least relatable thing that a person can have.
I love that the final indignity he has to deal with is having a teenage daughter. It's like, of all the shit you've done in your life, the last indignity is, my daughter's kind of a jerk. It's so stupid. What a beautifully stupid series that is. I love it so much. All right. How are we on time? Let's call it. Let's call the episode there. That's an episode. You can send your emails to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. Remember, do not use the email link. It won't be in the article, but don't go try to find one because it's not going to work. And then we're not going to get your email, and then we're not going to answer it on the show, and you're going to think we don't like you. We don't like anybody, so that's fine. But rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. Put John Lindemann in a fire. I mean, send us an email today. Greg, what is our music? Huh? What was that?
I don't know. I don't know what
it was a typo. Characters are right next to each other.
All right.
Yeah, that happens. It happens. Greg, what is our music to wrap the show up?
Well, it's something that was not covered in the direct because obviously it was a partner direct. But this was coming from Nintendo themselves that we haven't discussed that went live this week. Is the addition of Mario Paint to the Nintendo Switch Online. So yeah, actually, this is the first time that I've messed around in any sort of length of time, but it's still not very long, with the mouse functionality of the Joy-Con 2 or whatever, because that's the kind of the gag here. Like, this is technically the first update in, 2 months for Switch Online that, kind of Switch 2 players or expansion pack members can access, but it is leveraging the mouse part, which you could do USB mouse with the original Switch, right? So there's still, you can still kind of use it and access it as a Switch 1 owner, but it's still a quite Switch 2 kind of leveraged, isn't it? It's not been a great 2 months on the NSO front for, kind of fresh things for the regular Switch owners to enjoy. But, it is kind of a landmark thing because it's the first time that Mario Paint has been re-released in this way. It was absent from things like Virtual Console. in its various iterations because of the mouse angle and all that. And it makes you wonder, what might happen with other, there were other mouse games on the Super Nintendo that used it, like, was it Mario and Wario, right? Game Freak made that with he's got the bucket on his head. You've got to kind of, guide him along, sort of, somewhat, indirectly, using the mouse. And whether they could look at maybe, in the past, they did, pointer controls on like Wii U for Zapper games. I don't know whether they would consider bringing any of those back now, using the mouse as a kind of, a substitute, input method there. But, the Mario Paint kind of, is quite famous for its musical kind of elements as well, because, you had the music creator as part of the package, and, the connections to Totaka, and it had the Totaka song in there and all this kind of stuff, and things that came back in like Mario Maker, for instance, which had quite a lot of sort of inspirations from Mario Paint, like the Undo Dog and all that kind of thing. But what we're going to go for soundtrack-wise isn't actually directly from Mario Paint. It's the Mario Paint medley from, I think it debuted in Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U and 3DS. But this is pretty cool because, yes, it is, as it sounds, you're taking various things from Mario Paint and cobbling them together into one song. But it has got actual, like, direct samples from stuff in Mario Paint. But you also get the kind of visual of, like, that kind of menu song that made its way into Mario Maker that just had that kind of do 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 over and over again. Like, they even worked that in, but like brassy and stuff. It's one of those examples of a Smash mix, that's less just like kind of taking something and improving the instrumentation. Oh, that's part of it, but it's the cobbling together, the way they integrate the different threads. That's really fun.
And funnily enough, if you want to hear more Mario Paint music, they added it to the Nintendo Music Service this week as well.
That's right. There was one of those where they sort of synergized there.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that, it is time for us to depart. Bye, everybody.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.